To start a pod using VERIGO's mobile app, users now have the option of choosing from 3 different methods according to their needs. Now we will show you how to configure and activate a device using the possible methods in VERIGO's system. Users have the ability to activate a device using one of the following methods: default button press, configure plus activate now, remote start using the VERIGO mobile app, and button press using pre-configured settings. In this guide, we will show you how to activate pods using the default button press method and the configure plus activate now method. Each VERIGO pod is shipped with default characteristics built in, so users can immediately begin logging data without the need to write custom settings to the pod. Pods started using the default button press method will log a point every 15 minutes and do not have temperature thresholds. Users simply hold down the Bluetooth button for 5 seconds, then release. A chime will ring indicating that the device has been activated and has started logging. The most common way users activate pods is by using the configure plus activate now method. This method allows users to write custom settings to their pod, and upon completion of writing settings, the pod will immediately activate and begin logging data points. Users click on the Start Pod tab and then click the Configure plus Activate Now button. This screen shows users the characteristics they can write to their pods. Session Name gives the user the option to name the pod. Users can input a custom text name or scan a barcode to declare a session name. Logging Interval is how often the pod will log a data point. Estimated Logging Duration is how long the pod can log for in this session given the current logging interval. The longer the logging interval, the longer the logging duration. Inversely, the shorter the logging interval, the shorter the logging duration. Estimated logging duration is based on the assumption that the pod has full battery and 40,000 data points are available. Logging delay allows the user to decide whether they want the logger to start immediately with no delay or to write in a specific delay time. Users can delay for 20 minutes, write their own custom delay, or decide a specific time and date for the logger to start automatically. Next is the Alert Settings section. This section allows users to be alerted if thresholds during the monitoring session are breached. Users can write upper and lower alarm thresholds for temperature by using the low temp alarm limit and high temp alarm limit. Users can also write upper and lower alarm thresholds for the humidity settings by using the low RH alarm limit and high RH alarm limit. Finally, Alert After gives the user the ability to determine how long the pod can log data for outside of the alarm limits. For example, if the alarm limit is set to 10 minutes, the pod will not raise an alarm until the pod has recorded 10 aggregate minutes of time spent outside of the written alarm limits. Next, the user has an option of writing advanced settings. High-resolution logging enables the pod to record a data point if temperature changes by more than 0.5 degrees Celsius or if humidity changes by more than 3% relative humidity. These logs are taken in addition to the regular logging interval set in the logging details section above. Note: using high-resolution logging will generate large data sets and may increase the amount of time it takes to download data logs. After you have written the settings you wish to configure, click the arrow in the top right corner of the screen to proceed to the next screen. Next, click the Bluetooth button on the pod you wish to configure. By pressing the Bluetooth button, the pod will appear highlighted yellow. To be sure the pod is the one you'd like to configure, make sure to match the MAC address shown on the screen to the one shown on the back of the pod. Click the pod that you'd like to configure. When the connection is complete, you will be brought to the final screen. Here, you will have the opportunity to review the settings that will be written before the pod is activated. When you are ready to activate, click the Activate Now button at the bottom of the screen. Upon successful activation, a dialog box will appear notifying the user of the activation.